for the short answer questions. See here, what is an induction motor cannot run at synchronous speed. The speed of the uh, motor, that means the rotor speed will be always less than synchronous speed. See here, in other words, the speed of the rotor will be always less than synchronous speed. So here, this statement can be justified as follows. See here, suppose if the rotor is running at the synchronous speed, then there would be no cutting of flux by the rotor conductors, and hence no EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. This means there will be no current, that is no rotor current. As a result of this, no torque is produced. Therefore, the induction motor never runs at synchronous speed. It always runs at a speed less than the synchronous speed. Is it clear? When the synchronous motor runs at a synchronous speed, the rotor conductors will not cut the rotating magnetic field. So no EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. No current will be flowing through the rotor conductors. So rotor will not experience a torque. You know that when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences torque. So no current in the rotor conductors means no torque will be experienced by the conductors. So always the speed of the rotor will be always less than synchronous speed. Next, so here an induction motor is sometimes called asynchronous motor and does not run at synchronous speed. Next, coming to slip speed. The difference between the synchronous speed. So synchronous speed is given by 120 F by P. So here the difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed. See here, rotor speed is indicated with NR. It's called a slip speed. So slip speed is equal to NS minus NR. Next, this is the relative speed between rotor conductors and rotating magnetic field. So the relative speed between rotor conductors and rotating magnetic field is the slip speed. Or simply the difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed is called slip speed. Next, slip. So slip is indicated with S. Is it clear? So Ns minus Nr is slip speed. Slip speed is Ns minus Nr, whereas the slip is indicated by Ns minus Nr by Ns. So the slip speed expressed as fraction of the synchronous speed is called the slip. Slip speed expressed as the fraction of the synchronous speed is called the slip. It is also called as the per unit slip or fractional slip. It is denoted by S. So here S equal to Ns minus Nr by Ns. Next, coming to the percentage slip. Percentage slip is given by Ns minus Nr by Ns into 100. So here, if you take the slip at a full load, varies from about 5% for small motors and to about 2% for large motors. So next, coming to the frequency of rotor voltage and current. Okay. So the frequency of the rotor voltage and current depends upon the speed of the rotor. So the frequency of the stator current and voltage will be equal to 50 Hz. Here, so we are talking about the frequency of rotor voltage and current. Frequency of rotor voltage. So here, when the rotor conductors cut the rotating magnetic field, an EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors. That frequency we are going to find out here. The frequency of the rotor voltage and also the frequency of the rotor current. Coming to stator, the frequency of the stator voltage and current will be equal to supply frequency. But frequency of the rotor voltage and rotor current depends upon the speed of the rotor. And see here, the frequency of the current and voltage in the stator winding must be same as the supply frequency. So stator, so the frequency of the stator and the frequency of current and frequency of voltage in the stator winding must be same as the supply frequency and is given by P equal to this here F equal to PNS by 120. So how you got this means it is obtained by NS equal to 120 F by P. See here F equal to, to rearrange you are going to get F equal to PNS by 120. Now coming to the frequency of rotor EMF. So frequency of rotor EMF or current. So EMF and current will be having the same frequency. So the frequency of the rotor EMF or current is variable and depends on the difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed. So Ns minus Nr. So the frequency of the rotor EMF and current depends upon the difference between synchronous speed and the rotor speed. That is Ns minus Nr. Thus, the rotor frequency of the induced current and voltage is given by Fr equal to P. Instead of Ns, we are going to take Ns minus Nr by 120. So, if you divide these two equations, so you are going to get finally Fr equal to here Fr equal to S into F. So, here this becomes S. So, rotor frequency is equal to per unit slip into supply frequency or simply slip into supply frequency. So rotor frequency Fr equal to S into supply frequency. So this is about the third unit. So third unit is about transformers and three-phase induction motors. So once again I am going to explain the working of a three-phase induction motor. See here. Are you able to see the screen? Okay. So working of the three-phase induction motor. So when three-phase supply is given to the stator winding, a rotating magnetic field rotating at a synchronous speed ns equal to 125 p is produced. See, already I have shown here. They already derived here. Here. So this at omega t equal to 0 degrees, the resultant flux is upwards. Okay. At omega t equal to 60 degrees, you can see it is this is the relative. This is the resultant flux. Phi r is the resultant flux. So this will be the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, or the lines of force. So it is 3 by 2 phi m. So you can see here also it is 3 by 2 phi m. Here also 3 by 2 phi m. So constant magnitude, but it is rotating. Next, at omega t equal to 120 degrees. See here, this is the direction of the resultant flux or the lines of force, net lines of force. Resultant magnetic field is along OD. and resultant flux, the magnitude is given by 3 by 2 phi m. At omega t equal to 120 degrees. Here you can see it is vertically down and the magnitude is 3 by 2 pi m. So here you can see the resultant flux. The magnetic lines of force are rotating at a constant speed of synchronous speed, with a constant speed equal to synchronous speed. Synchronous speed is equal to 120 f by p. Here. So when a three-phase supply is given to stator winding, a rotating magnetic field rotating at a synchronous speed, ns equal to 120 f by p is produced. So let the field is rotating in clockwise direction. So here we can change the direction of the rotation by changing the phase sequence. So instead of ABC, if you give the phase sequence as ACB, the flux will be rotating in anti-clockwise direction. The direction will depend upon the phase sequence. So let the field is rotating in clockwise direction. Okay. The stationary. So here initially we are considering the rotors at stationary position. So the stationary rotor conductors touch the rotating magnetic field. So the conductors will be cutting the magnetic field, rotating field. And due to electromagnetic induction, an EMF is induced in the rotor conductors. So when a conductor cuts the magnetic field, EMF is induced in the conductors. So here, EMF is induced in the rotor conductor. Since the rotor circuit is complete, either through end rings in case of a squirrel cage or an external resistance in case of slip ring rotor. The induced EMF causes a current to flow in the rotor conductors. So due to the induced EMF, current will be flowing in the rotor conductor. The direction of this current, the direction of this induced current is given by Fleming's right hand rule. Again, this will be coming in DC generators. So at the time I will explain this once again. So here, finally you can, due to EMF induced in the rotor circuit, so current will be flowing in the rotor conductors. The current in the rotor conductors produces its own magnetic field. Okay, whenever there is a current flow, there will be a magnetic field. We know that when a conductor carrying current is put in a magnetic field, the force is produced on it. So you know that current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experiences torque. So the force is given by BIL, where B is the magnetic flux density, I is the current flowing through the conductor, L is the length of the conductor. Okay. So the force is produced on the rotor conductor. The direction of this force can be found by Fleming's left hand rule. Again, this will be coming in DC motors. I am going to explain this in detail. So um, here, current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experiences torque. Since the rotor conductor is in a slot on the circumference of the rotor, okay, so rotor slot, the rotor conductor is in the slot of the circumference of the rotor. So this force acts in a tangential direction to the rotor and develops a torque on the rotor. So this driving torque puts the
Sir,
rotor.
voice is breaking, sir.
Voice is breaking. Okay, okay. So this driving torque puts the rotor into motion. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. There's a three-phase induction motor is self-starting. So here we are not putting any external efforts to rotate the rotor, or we are not providing any external arrangement for rotating the rotor. So this will be clear in fifth unit. In fifth unit, you are going to study about the single phase induction motor, which are not self-starting. So we are going to provide some external means, so that you are going to study in detail in fifth unit about the single phase induction motors. So three-phase induction motors are self-starting. So the three-phase induction motor is self-starting. Since the operation of this motor depends upon the induced voltage on its rotor conductors, it is thus named as induction motor. So induced voltage. So here EMF will be voltage here. Induced voltage will be there in the rotor conductors. So here rotor is not connected electrically to the stator. So here rotor there is no electrical connection between stator and rotor. Rotor is receiving the power through induction. That's why it is called as induction motor. So we can next one is we can change the direction just by changing the phase sequence. So here we can change the direction of the rotation by changing the phase sequence. So here always there will be a slip speed. If there is no slip speed, if the rotor rotates with speed equal to ns, so the rotor conductors will not cut the magnetic field and EMF induced will be zero. So no current, no torque. So here that's a if a rotor tries to reach synchronous speed, torque becomes zero. So torque becomes zero means speed reduces. So always speed of the rotor will be less than synchronous speed. If it tries to achieve the synchronous speed, torque will become zero. Again, the rotor may slow down. When if it is slow down, it experiences torque. So like this, the speed of the rotor will be always less than synchronous speed. So coming to fourth unit, in fourth unit you are going to study about a single phase induction motor. So in fourth unit you are going to study single phase induction motor, DC motor and DC generator. So coming to single phase induction motor. So here single phase induction motor is very similar to a three phase squirrel cage induction motor. So if you do the comparison, it has a squirrel cage rotor. So single phase induction motor has a squirrel cage rotor that is identical to three phase motor. Second one, a single phase winding on the stator. So here, if you see the difference between a three phase motor and a single phase motor, so here on the stator you are going to have a single phase winding, whereas in a three phase motor, three phase induction motor, you have three phase winding on the stator. So a single phase induction motor is not self-starting. So three here single phase induction motor is not self-starting. Why it is not self-starting means there will be no rotating magnetic field. So we have to provide some external means so that we are going to have a rotating magnetic field. So that we are going to see now. A single phase induction motor is not self-starting but requires some starting means. The single phase stator winding produces a magnetic field that pulsates in strength in a sinusoidal manner. Here, the single phase stator winding produces a magnetic field that pulsates in strength. That means the magnitude will be changing and also the direction changes periodically. So here, the magnetic field that pulsates in strength in a sinusoidal manner. So pulsating means becoming positive and becoming negative.
Engineering, physics,
and
physics.
it happens in a sinusoidal manner. Already we have seen.
సబ్జెక్ట్ ఏంటండి అట్లా అంటే
So the field polarity reverses after each half cycle.
అందరినీ పెడతాడు,
ఏం పెడతాడు
అందరిని కనబడేటట్టు.
Yes, any problem?
ఎవరెవరు జాయిన్ అయ్యాడని
Yes, who is that?
ఇద్దరు బాగానే పెడతావు.
Yes, 73.
నందిని,
73
శ్యామలిక.
microphone. One 19.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please keep your microphone in mute if you do not have any doubts.
మైక్రోఫోన్ మ్యూట్ అండి సార్.
Okay.
సార్ యూనిట్ 3 కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయిందా సార్?
Yes, one.
ఇప్పుడు యూనిట్ 4 స్టార్ట్ చేశారా సార్? యూనిట్ 3 కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయిందా?
So once again tell me.
సార్ యూ కంప్లీటెడ్ యూనిట్ 3.
Yes, unit 3 is completed.
నౌ యూనిట్ 4.
Now unit 4.
టోటల్ 5 యూనిట్స్ సార్.
Total 5 units.
ఓకే థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Okay. So I put the syllabus also. You can see the syllabus. Classroom. Here, if you see the syllabus, so third unit is about transformers and three-phase induction motors. So transformers I completed and three-phase induction motors completed. So see here, generation of rotating magnetic field, construction and working of a three-phase induction motor. Okay, squirrel cage induction motor, slip ring induction motor, applications. So in the notes you can find this. Next, coming to fourth unit. See here, fourth unit. So single phase induction motors.
సార్ సెమ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్కి ఆ నోట్స్ చదువుకుంటే చాలా సార్.
Wait. Okay, if you see the fourth unit, in fourth unit, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in fourth unit, you are going to study about single phase induction motor and DC machines. So, single phase induction motor, you are going to have the construction and principle of operation. Okay. Capacitor start and capacitor run motor applications. Next, DC machines. DC machines means DC generators and DC motors. So generators, we are going to study about dynamically induced EMF, Fleming's right hand rule. So left hand rule will come in DC motors. Okay. So you are going to study in detail about the Fleming's right hand rule and Fleming's left hand rule. So
Sir.
construction. Yes, yes.
సార్
Yeah.
ఇప్పుడు సెమ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ కి మీరు పెట్టిన నోట్స్ చదువుకుంటే చాలా సార్.
సరిపోతుంది. So I will keep unit 4 and unit 5. Okay. Today I will put the unit 4 notes. So here, a single phase induction motor is not self-starting, but requires some starting means. The single phase stator winding produces a magnetic field that pulsates in strength in a sinusoidal. So here the magnitude will be changing and direction also changing periodically. Okay, the field polarity reverses after each half cycle, but the field does not rotate. Here, the field does not rotate. We are getting a pulsating magnetic field, and the field changes in a sinusoidal manner. We do not have a rotating magnetic field here. Consequently, the alternating flux cannot produce rotation in a stationary squirrel cage rotor. Okay. So, however, if the rotor of a single phase motor is rotated, okay, in one direction by some mechanical means, it will continue to rotate in the direction of the rotation. So here one advantage is, if you rotate the rotor, here, if the rotor of a single phase motor is rotated in one direction by some mechanical means, it will continue to run in the direction of rotation. Suppose sometimes you may be seeing a ceiling fan will be stop working. Suppose if you try to rotate it, it will start rotating. So here, in that case, if you change the capacitor, it will work properly. So that I am going to explain now. See here, if the rotor of a single phase motor is rotated in one direction by some mechanical means, it will continue to run in the direction of the rotation. This method of starting is generally not convenient for large motors, nor can be employed for a motor located at some inaccessible spot. Okay. So how to make it a self-starting? So making self-starting. To make a single phase induction motor self-starting, we should somehow produce a rotating stator magnetic field. If you produce a rotating magnetic field, the rotor will rotate automatically. So it becomes a self-starting. So for the self-starting of the single phase induction motor, we have to produce a rotating stator magnetic field, as in case of three-phase induction motor. Okay. This may be achieved by converting a single phase supply into two-phase supply. So if you convert a single phase supply into two-phase supply, we are going to get a rotating magnetic field. So how to convert a single phase supply into two-phase supply? Through the use of an additional winding. So if we use additional winding, we are going to have a two-phase supply. So when the motor attains sufficient speed, the starting means that is additional winding may be removed depending upon the type of the motor. Okay. The single phase induction motors are classified and named according to the method employed to make them self-starting. So first one is the capacitor start, capacitor run motor. So let us see the diagram. So here, let us see the diagrams of two methods. So first one. So we are first one is the permanent capacitor induction motor. Here. So first one is permanent capacitor single phase induction motor. For this, you can take the example of the ceiling fan. You can take the example of the ceiling fan. So here V is the single phase supply voltage. So when a single phase supply is applied to the motor, so what happens see here? There are two windings. So IM is the current in the main winding. Second one is the starting winding. So to the starting winding, we are going to provide a capacitor. So here inductor and here capacitor. So here there will be phase difference between IM and IS. So here we have only inductor in the main winding. So in the starting winding, the winding is connected to a capacitor. So you are going to have two fluxes, and the two fluxes will be having a phase displacement. So when you have a phase displacement between two fluxes, you are going to have a rotating magnetic field. So if the phase displacement is near to 90 degrees, you are going to have a constant magnitude rotating magnetic field. Constant magnitude rotating magnetic field if the phase difference between the two fluxes is equal to 90 degrees. So here, by using a capacitor, we are getting a two-phase supply here. So the single phase here, the single phase is converted to two phase. So IM and IS will be having a phase difference. So here, the flux produced by the main winding will have a phase difference of by the flux produced by the starting winding. The two fluxes will be having a phase difference, and we are going to have a rotating magnetic field. So when this rotating magnetic field cuts the rotor conductors, see here, this is a rotor and rotor conductors. So when the rotor conductors cuts the rotating magnetic field, EMF will be induced in the rotor conductors, and current will be flowing through the rotor conductors. This rotor current interacts with the rotating magnetic field and experiences torque and rotates in the direction of rotating magnetic field. So permanent capacitor, single phase induction motor. Now coming to the second one, capacitor start, capacitor run, single phase induction motor. So here we have two capacitors, C1 and C2. Okay. So C2 is used only at the time of starting. So if you add two capacitors C1 and C2, we can increase the capacitance, and the net capacitance is equal to C1 plus C2. So when the capacitors are connected in parallel, we can increase the capacitance. Now here the switch is connected only at the time of starting. Okay. When the rotor achieves sufficient speed, the switch is opened. Okay. So let us see this. Both see the some points here. Both starting and main windings remain connected to the supply when starting as well as running. Okay. This improves the power factor and efficiency of the motor. See here the starting winding and main winding. So these points are about capacitor start, capacitor run motor. Capacitor start, capacitor run, single phase induction motor. So in addition to this, I provided the diagram for permanent capacitor single phase induction motor to know the difference. So in exam, only this diagram is enough. Is it clear? So for the exam, only this diagram is enough. Capacitor start, capacitor run, single phase induction motor. Permanent capacitor single phase induction motor, just for information I provided here. So here you can see this first point, both starting and main winding remain. So starting and the main winding remains connected to the supply when starting as well as running. Wait for a minute. Just a minute. Wait. Okay, students. So here, capacitor start, capacitor run motor. If they ask this in the exam, you have to draw only this diagram. Okay. So both the starting and main windings. This is the starting winding. This is the main winding. Both starting and main windings remains connected to the supply when starting as well as running. So here, when the switch is opened, so switch is closed only at the time of starting. So in that case, you can see the starting winding is connected, and the switch is opened when the speed achieves sufficient speed. When the rotor achieves sufficient speed, the switch can be opened. So in this case, you can see the main winding and the starting winding remains connected to the supply when running as well as when starting as well as running. This improves the power factor and efficiency of the motor. So why the power factor improves means by the use of capacitor we are going to improve the power factor and efficiency of the motor can be increased. So if you take the first one, if you see this first one here, one indicates this first points about the first diagram. That is permanent capacitor single phase induction motor. So if you see this permanent capacitor single phase induction motor, in this design, a single capacitor C is used for both starting and running, as shown in figure 1. The design eliminates the need of a centrifugal switch. So here, in the second method, a centrifugal switch is used. When the rotor attains sufficient speed, the centrifugal switch gets open. So first figure, that is permanent capacitor single phase induction motor. So here eliminates the need of a centrifugal switch and at the same time improves the power factor and efficiency of the rotor. Next, coming to the second one, capacitor start, capacitor run for this one. The second diagram. The second point is about the second diagram. In this design, two capacitors C1 and C2 are used in the starting winding. So C1 and C2 are used in the starting winding. Here, C1 and C2 are used in the starting winding. The smaller capacitor C1 required for optimum running conditions is permanently connected in series with the starting winding. So C1 is the smaller capacitance. It is always connected in series with the starting winding. Next, the much larger capacitor C2 is connected in parallel with C1 for optimum starting and remains in the circuit during starting. So the starting capacitor C2 is disconnected when the motor approaches about 75% of synchronous speed. The motor then runs as a single phase induction motor. Okay. So now coming to the characteristics. The starting winding and the capacitor can be designed for perfect two-phase operation at any load. So here the motor then produces a constant torque. So we have to design. So the design must be perfect. So we have to design the windings, the winding resistance, and we have to consider the winding resistance. We have to consider the capacitance. So here, when the difference between the two fluxes is 90 degrees phase displacement. So here, the two fluxes, the flux produced by phi m and the flux produced by is must be 90 degrees, so that you are going to get a constant speed flux, constant rotating magnetic field. So here, so that we are going to get the constant torque and not a pulsating torque. So here, if the rotating magnetic field is constant, the magnitude of the rotating field is constant. The field will be rotating, the direction will be changing, but the magnitude of the resultant flux must be same. Okay, we have to design in such a way so that it produces a constant torque, not a pulsating torque. Okay. Next, second one. Because of constant torque, the motor is vibration free and can be used in hospital and places where silence is important. So here I will show how a rotating magnetic field is produced. So here this is the direction of the flux phi A. This is the direction of the flux phi B. Okay. Now here there will be the fluxes are displaced by 90 degrees physically, and also the windings will be displaced physically by 90 degrees, and also there will be phase displacement of 90 degrees. Here phi A and phi B, there is a phase difference of 90 degrees. See here, if you see the zero crossing of two waveforms, so there is a phase difference of 90 degrees. So phi A and phi B. So let us take theta equal to 0. So here x-axis I am considering as theta. Okay. At theta equal to 0, what is the value of phi A? Phi A equal to 0. What about the phi B? Phi B is in negative. So here, uh, this is the positive direction of the flux. So here, minus. So negative means the flux will be upwards. So here you are going to get the resultant flux as like this. So here this is the resultant flux. So at theta equal to 0, theta equal to 0, we are going to flux like this, vertically upwards. Now let us consider theta equal to 45 degrees. So here at 45 degrees, what is the magnitude of phi A? So phi A is what is the magnitude? 1 by root 2. Is it clear? Sin 45, 1 by root 2. So here phi A will be equal to phi m into 1 by root 2. Phi m by root 2 is the magnitude. So in this direction, the so here in this direction, in the direction of phi A, we are going to have 1 by root 2 phi m. This is the magnitude of the flux. And what about phi B? So phi B you can see here, phi B is negative. At 45 degrees, you can see phi B is negative. So this is the positive direction of the flux. So negative means upwards. So here, this is the minus 1 by root 2 phi m in this direction. So here, so what about the resultant? This is the resultant flux. So here, this is the resultant flux. So previously it was like this. This is the direction of the lines of force. Now the direction of lines of force have changed. So here the flux is rotating in clockwise direction. And coming to the magnitude of the resultant flux. So what about this? This is 45 degrees, right? 45 degrees. So phi r equal to 1 by here. We have to take this projection on this. The component of this flux along phi r will be 1 by root of phi m into cos 45 degrees. Next, what about this component along the resultant flux? So here its component will be 1 by root 2 phi m cos 45 degrees. So you are going to get phi m. So here also the magnitude is phi m, here the magnitude is phi m, but the direction is changed. So coming to 90 degrees, this is the direction of the resultant flux. So like this here, and the magnitude is phi m. So in both the, on every case, at every instant, we are going to have a constant magnitude flux, but it is rotating. We are going to have a rotating magnetic field, and the two fluxes have a phase displacement of 90 degrees. When you have two fluxes of a phase displacement 90 degrees, you are going to have a constant magnitude rotating magnetic field. And here phi b and phi a are also having the magnitude equal. So if the two fluxes have equal magnitude and displaced by 90 degrees, you are going to have a constant magnitude rotating magnetic field. So this is about single phase induction motors. Okay, any doubts in this single phase induction motors? So next I am going to start DC generators. So DC generators I am going to start in the next class. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Meanwhile, I will take the attendance. So the absentees are see the absentees are 62, 79, 86, 98, 105, 109, 113, 120. Number 93, are you there? 93, please respond.
Yes, sir.
I told you to send your first internal tax copy to me, to my mail ID. Or you can send me to WhatsApp also.
Okay,
You
sir.
can send to the WhatsApp. You can send. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So tomorrow, in the next class, I will start DC generators. Okay.
Sir, I can send in WhatsApp, sir.
Oh, you can send.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can we leave?
You can leave, but I want to know, are you following the class? If you want any explanation, I can give. If you want more explanation, I can give. So the Fleming's left-hand rule and right-hand rule will be covered in detail in this DC generators and DC motors. Okay. Today I will send the. Okay, 120. Who is 120? 120 present. Okay, 120 present. Okay, once again I am reading the absentees. So the absentees are 62, 79, 86, 98, 105, 109, 113. Okay, you can leave the meeting.